The night was cold, and the wind carried the smell of sulfur through the broken streets of what was once a great city. Marcus Kane stood alone in the darkness, his massive frame casting a long shadow under the pale moonlight. His arms were thick with muscle, covered in old scars that told stories of battles no ordinary man could survive. He wore leather armor that had seen better days, stained with the blood of creatures that should not exist. In his hands, he held a crossbow that was almost as legendary as the man himself. The crossbow was not made from ordinary materials. The frame was forged from the bones of a fallen demon lord, and the string was woven from the hair of angels who had sacrificed themselves in the first war between heaven and hell. It was a weapon that could kill anything, even the things that were supposed to be immortal. Marcus had used it many times, and tonight he would use it again. He could feel the ground shaking beneath his boots. Something was coming, something big and something hungry. The portal had opened 3 hours ago in the center of the city, and since then, smaller demons had been pouring through like rats escaping a sinking ship. Marcus had killed dozens of them already, their bodies dissolving into black smoke as they died. But those were just the scouts, the weak ones sent ahead to test the defenses of this world. The real threat was still coming. Marcus loaded a bolt into his crossbow. This bolt was special. It was made from pure silver, blessed by 7 priests, and dipped in holy water that had been collected from the tears of saints. The tip was coated with a poison extracted from the flowers that grew only in the gardens of paradise. One hit from this bolt would send any demon back to the pit it crawled from, screaming in agony for 1,000 years. The shaking grew stronger. Marcus planted his feet firmly on the cracked concrete and raised his crossbow to his shoulder. His heart was steady, his breathing calm. He had been hunting demons for 20 years, ever since the first portal opened, and took everything he loved. His wife, his daughter, his entire world had been consumed by hellfire in a single night. Since then, Marcus had dedicated his life to one purpose: making the demons pay. A roar split the night, so loud that it shattered the windows of the building still standing. Marcus did not flinch. He had heard worse. He had faced worse. The creature emerged from the shadows, and for a moment, even Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. It was massive, standing at least 15 feet tall. Its body was made of twisted muscle and dark red skin that looked like it had been burned and healed 1,000 times. It had 4 arms, each ending in claws that could tear through steel like paper. Its head was that of a beast, with horns that curved back like a ram and eyes that burned with the fire of the underworld. Chains hung from its body, the chains of the souls it had consumed over the centuries. Each link was a person, a life stolen and turned into fuel for this monster. The creature saw Marcus and laughed. The sound was like grinding rocks mixed with the screams of the dying. It spoke in a language that was older than humanity, but Marcus understood every word. He had learned the demon tongue long ago, studying their language so he could curse them in their own words as they died. The creature called him a fool. It called him weak. It said that no human could stand against the Duke of Hell. It said that Marcus would become another link in its chains, another soul to feed its endless hunger. It took a step forward, and the ground cracked beneath its weight. Marcus smiled. He had heard these threats before, from demons far older and far more powerful than this one. They always underestimated humans. They saw small bodies and short lives and assumed weakness. They did not understand that it was exactly those things that made humans dangerous. Humans lived short lives, so they fought with everything they had. Humans were small, so they learned to be clever. Humans were weak alone, so they built weapons that could kill gods. The creature charged. It moved faster than something that size should be able to move, crossing the distance between them in seconds. Marcus waited. He watched the creature's movements, noted the way its muscles tensed before each step, calculated the exact moment when it would be closest and most vulnerable. At the last possible second, Marcus rolled to the side. The creature's claws sliced through the air where he had been standing, close enough to cut a few strands of his hair. Marcus came up on one knee, crossbow aimed, and fired. The bolt flew true. It struck the creature in the chest, right where its heart would be if it had one. The effect was immediate. The creature screamed, not a roar of anger, but a howl of genuine pain. Black blood poured from the wound, sizzling where it touched the ground. The holy poison was working, spreading through the creature's body like fire through dry wood. But the creature did not fall. It turned to face Marcus, hatred burning in its eyes. It reached up and pulled the bolt from its chest, the wound healing slowly but visibly. It was strong, stronger than Marcus had expected. One bolt was not enough. Marcus was already moving. He rolled behind a pile of rubble and loaded another bolt. The creature was coming for him, moving slower now, but still deadly. It swept its arms through the rubble, sending chunks of concrete flying. Marcus dodged, weaved, and ran. He was fast for a man his size, his muscles trained for both strength and speed. He found cover behind an overturned truck and took aim again. This time, he aimed for the creature's eyes. The bolt flew and struck true, piercing the creature's left eye and burying itself deep in its skull. The creature roared and clutched at its face, blinded on one side and in obvious agony. Marcus did not celebrate. He loaded another bolt and fired, then another, then another. Each bolt found its mark, striking vital points that he had learned from decades of study and combat. The creature stumbled, fell to one knee, its body riddled with holy weapons. But still, it did not die. It reached out with one of its massive arms and grabbed a truck Marcus was hiding behind. With a single motion, it lifted the vehicle and hurled it aside like a toy. Marcus was exposed. No cover. No time to reload. The creature lunged. Marcus dropped his crossbow and drew the sword from his back. It was a simple blade, nothing special about its making, but it had been carried through 100 battles. It had killed demons, vampires, werewolves, and things that had no name. It was an extension of Marcus himself, and he wielded it with the skill of a master. He met the creature's charge head on. Its claws came down, and he stepped inside the attack, letting the arm pass over his shoulder. His sword came up, cutting deep into the creature's wrist. Black blood sprayed, and the creature pulled back with a howl. They fought. It was a dance of death, the massive demon and the lone human, trading blows in the moonlight. Marcus was cut, slashed, and thrown. His ribs cracked, his left arm went numb, and blood ran down his face from a gash on his forehead. But he kept fighting. He kept standing. He kept pushing forward. The creature was slowing. The holy bolts were still working, the poison spreading through its system. Its movements became sluggish, its attacks less precise. Marcus saw his opening. He charged. The creature swung, and Marcus slid under the attack, his sword held high. He drove the blade up through the creature's jaw, through its mouth, and into its brain. The creature froze. Its eyes went wide, the fire in them flickering. Marcus twisted the blade. The creature let out one final sound, something between a gasp and a whimper. Then it fell, its massive body crashing to the ground with enough force to shake the earth. Black smoke began to rise from its corpse as its physical form dissolved. The souls in its chains finally freed. Marcus pulled his sword free and stood over the body of the Duke of Hell. He was breathing hard, every muscle in his body screaming in pain. But he was alive. The demon was dead. That was all that mattered. He retrieved his crossbow and began the long walk back to base. There would be more demons tomorrow. There always were. The portals kept opening, and the creatures from hell kept coming. But Marcus would be there to meet them. He would always be there, because that was what humans did. They faced the darkness, they fought the monsters, and they refused to give up. The demons thought they were the predators, but they had it wrong. Humans were the hunters. Humans had always been the hunters. and Marcus Kane was the best of them. The sun began to rise over the broken city, casting golden light over the ruins. Marcus walked into that light, a lone figure against the dawn. Behind him, the remains of the demon faded to nothing, leaving only scorch marks on the ground. Somewhere in the distance, another portal was opening. Another battle was waiting. Marcus loaded a fresh bolt into his crossbow and smiled. Let them come. He was ready. The world had changed when the first portal opened 5 years ago. Governments had fallen, cities had burned, and billions had died. The demons thought they had won. They thought humanity was finished, but they were wrong. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that had killed millions. They had crawled out of caves and built civilizations that reached the stars. They were not going to be destroyed by creatures from another dimension. Hunters like Marcus had risen from the ashes. Men and women who refused to accept defeat. They learned how to fight the demons, how to hurt them, how to kill them. They shared their knowledge, trained others, and built an army of resistance. The demons had numbers, but humans had determination. The demons had power, but humans had will. Marcus reached the base just as the sun cleared the horizon. The base was an old military bunker, reinforced with holy symbols and warded against demonic intrusion. Inside, other hunters were waiting, tending their wounds and preparing for the next fight. A young woman approached Marcus. Her name was Elena, and she had been hunting demons for 2 years. She looked at the blood on his armor and the weariness in his eyes. She asked if he had killed it. Marcus nodded. Elena smiled. She said that the others would be inspired. She said that if a Duke of Hell could be killed, then maybe they could win this war after all. Marcus looked at her, at the hope in her eyes, and felt something stir in his chest. It was a feeling he had not known in years. It was hope. He told her to gather the hunters. They had work to do. The demons were not going to defeat themselves, and humanity was just getting started.